Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to my channel, Nelly the Narcissist. Thank you so much for joining today. In today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about when the smear campaign actually backfires on the narcissist. And at the end, I'm actually going to be sharing with you a comedy skit that I've made. And I've actually roped in my friend to be in this because he's a very good sport and he's a little bit nervous about being premiered. So please do show your support and check out my skit about how the smear campaign backfires on Nelly the narcissist. So first of all, I want to address what a smear campaign is and then its effects. And then I'm going to look at when the smear campaign backfires on narcissists. It is very rare when it happens, but it is so amazing when it does. And if you've seen it for yourself, then please do let me know in the comments and let other survivors know, because I'm going to be sharing my own actual personal experience of this in today's video. We all know how important an instrument the mask is to a covert narcissist. The disguise is everything to the predatory wolf, cloaking itself as not only a sheep, but as an innocent and harmless lamb. The camouflage is totally necessary because the covert narcissist needs for people to never see them coming. Their power is in their stealth and their disguise. But the trouble for narcissists is that they absolutely can't be wearing that mask 24/7 because it takes a lot of energy and effort to keep up that performance. Remember, this is quite often a rotten person at the core, and there are many covert malignant narcissists that you'd never see coming with an intention of evil at the essence of who they are, and yet they all appear as such angels. In M. Scott Peck's book, People of the Lie, he actually offers a portrait of a malignant narcissist, and he studies evil and reflects true evil is going to appear to the world and show up in all of the most complete opposite ways that it is, because it needs to hide its face. It wants to cover its tracks. So to the world, the narcissist will present the perfect image, the perfect facade. And the further into the darkness that the narcissist has gone, and they combine psychopathy, then this image is expertly crafted and enforced. The narcissist is extremely cunning. But like I said, there has to be moments when the narcissist, or literally anybody that's keeping up an act, has to stop acting and show themselves for who they are. And for the narcissist, this happens behind closed doors, where you will get to see the real face of who that person is. And what you're going to encounter is going to be a very different story than the one that they've sold to you, first of all, and everybody else on the outside. So when people are in close relationships with narcissists, the real them does emerge eventually. And this becomes the shock of a lifetime. When you wake up to the reality, the person that's your friend or your spouse or your romantic partner has deceived everybody and sold you a false version and a complete fantasy image of who they actually are. And if you've seen behind the veil and the mask of a malignant covert narcissist, this is going to be the singular most horrific and traumatizing encounter that anybody could ever have, I think. It is very frightening when you wake up to the level of evil that's present and the level of deviousness that's in operation. It's really an evil mastermind. And you realize this is a very sick person. And this isn't just a sick person. This is a dangerous individual that really should be imprisoned for most cases because of what they do and what they get away with under the radar. And the mask is the cover-up, and it's everything to them. And so their survival is totally based and reliant upon this image and the preservation of it. And they don't want to be shunned by people, by communities, by society, because they want to be directly in the middle of it. Inside those communities where they can work and they can wreak havoc and they can take as much as they can get from others, again, by pretending to be vulnerable and harmless, when they're in fact always the predator on the prowl. So I wanted to establish how important the mask is for the narcissist, because this is a huge part of the smear campaign. So for those of you that don't know what a smear campaign actually is and why the narcissist does it, let's define, the use. Smear campaigns are one of literally the hardest things to deal with post-narcissistic abuse. No matter how good you were to the narcissist, I'm sure you were all very good, they're going to paint you in a picture and in a very bad light. And why they're going to do this is because, number one, they've lost control and power of you. And you know, narcissists are all about keeping power and control. Their whole life is based on controlling people and outcomes because they're so in need of people for supply. So they need to look good. So you and anybody that's seen behind the mask and knows basically that that narcissist is a deceiver and a predator, you're now a huge threat to the narcissist. Whether or not you're actually going to expose them, the narcissist doesn't really care because they can't afford to take any chances with anybody. So they need to get to people first to smear and annihilate you and your name and blacken your character. So if you did ever attempt to speak out against the narcissist, there's nobody that's going to believe you. In fact, the narcissist can go to such lengths that nobody will even talk to you anymore. And this is really the first reason that the smear campaign becomes live. It's out of the fear of exposure to the narcissist games. And these are very, very paranoid people. I mean, wouldn't you be if you were a narcissist? Because they think and they expect everybody to be just like them and capable of doing what they're capable of. So no wonder the narcissist is always watching their backs. So the narcissist, in fear of being found out and exposed for who and what they are, they're going to many times project everything that they are and that they've done to you onto you and your name and say that you did this to them. And I know it's really confusing because they do this inside the relationship too, and they're going to gaslight the hell out of you. And it's really worrying because their performance is so amazing that it flows naturally, and most of the time it even gets you to doubt yourself and believe in the lies that they say. So when they do this to somebody else about you, you don't really stand much chance, do you, of that person not believing the narcissist. And this is when you can see the narcissist get quite clever and extremely cruel. And they will use everything that they have to hand that makes sure that this will be really unfair and that you won't ever have a chance to really defend yourself. It's sick, it's disgraceful, it sickens you, it is disgusting. It's disgusting who they are and what they do. And really, we have very, very little control of their schemes and their lies because they disempower you. Unfortunately, as many of you know, this can often put people into a lot of trouble because narcissists can be highly vindictive with their smear campaigns. And other times, you may not even know what they're saying about you because it doesn't affect you personally, luckily, because it's not your direct circle. Maybe you live now far away. And on this occasion, for example, that was my experience, the narcissists, they want to keep their character smearing discreet because they're quite fearful of you because perhaps you've got evidence on them. And they definitely don't have evidence on you because there is no evidence because you didn't do anything. The narcissist has always got to be involved in the projection that they are some kind of an angel. And you see, to be in that position as an angel, they need for others to become the devil. So you're going to be smeared in the worst possible light to exalt and raise the narcissist's position as an angel. And you can't be a little bit bad because you're not going to raise the narcissist's image enough. And so the other things that the narcissist needs, right, to be is the victim. Because once again, the victim is the opposite position of the abuser and the perpetrator of crimes. And the narcissist needs to appear as far away from who they are and the truth of their being as humanly possible. And the other function that the smear campaign actually serves them is as punishment to you. And I'm going to reflect again that narcissists are extremely vindictive. These are horrible people, and I can't even call the malignant narcissist people because they're really monsters. And narcissists have got black and white thinking. They are never bad. So if you do anything that offends them, then you are instantly positioned basically as their enemy. And if you're not with them, they think that you're against them. It's that kind of thing. But the thing is, offending a narcissist really isn't that difficult. And going against them could be as simple as just saying no, or standing up for yourself against their abuse. You're not meant to call them out. You're not meant to hold them accountable. You're never meant to say no. You're never meant to point out their wickedness. You're meant to just fall in line and go along with whatever the narcissist decides that you should fall in line with. So the moment that you stop serving your function in their life as narcissistic fuel, and you're no longer useful, and you're no longer enforcing their mask and their false version of who they are going to think you're the worst person in the world, and they're going to hate you. But if you've been amazing supply to a narcissist, if you've been grade A, if you've been primary supply and they've really needed you, they're going to lash out so much. They want to punish you. And this is when you can see your life become more isolated if you are in a community with narcissists, because they're going to find the best ways to actually hurt you and cut you off from people within that. And if you don't share a community with them, then you're extremely lucky. But if you share a family with them and children, this is when they can really hurt you. And this is when the smear campaign can be the nastiest and the most awful. And honestly, my heart goes out to anybody that is in that situation. From my own experience, I do know that I've been painted as a monster, as a violent and angry monster that has done damage to the narcissist. And I've even heard from a close source that I've been called arrogant and immature, which was just a very direct reflection of who the narcissist actually is. But thankfully, you see, from these situations, I've been able to just say, okay, fair enough. If that's what you want to say about me, go ahead. It doesn't affect me so much. But I do understand that it's not that simple for everybody. I don't blame anyone actually for believing the smear campaign or the lies of the narcissist, particularly when the person doesn't know you on a personal level. At one time, I also believed the lies of the narcissist. And that narcissist framed every single relationship in either absolute glory on a pedestal for triangulation purposes and to give me something unrealistic and unattainable to actually aim for, or the narcissist would frame the ex-partners as really terrible people, very, very abusive. And how sweet and kind the narcissist appears, you wouldn't believe that a word of a lie would fall past their lips. And at the time, you know, when you're not informed about MPD or cluster B personality disorders, you don't see what the aim or the benefit would be to say such lies about somebody, because it's not normal behavior. But now I can look back and I know without a shadow of a doubt that whoever the individual was that I was told that, you know, was so dreadful and abusive towards the narcissist, I know that that person was a victim and that was being abused by the narcissist themselves, not the other way around. And sometimes the light of these smear campaigns do come out, because the narcissist may tell you what a terrible person their ex was, and then one day they can turn around and tell you, actually, they had a good time with them. And then you're really so confused. So I really don't blame anybody that believes the smear campaign of the narcissist. This is just how the narcissist rolls. The worse that they can get you to be in the minds of others, actually the more of a victim that they can become and look, and the more attention and the more benefits that they can usually get from others is all totally thought out, and it's all functional for supply purposes. Because, you know, this is how the narcissist rolls, and they do get a lot of people to back their smear campaigns and believe in the lies. This doesn't actually work all of the time, because narcissists will always severely underestimate the discernment and intuition of others. They really do think that people are stupid. And on the odd occasion, the smear campaign backfires on them. And if you have ever experienced this, it is the sweetest thing that you could ever see. And that's karma getting its way. And I'm going to share my experience of this, and please do share yours if you have had the benefit of seeing a smear campaign backfire. So in my situation, a narcissist was grooming a new source of supply to punish me with, and also be my replacement, hopefully. And she was incredibly smart. She had a very bright energy, and she was also highly empathetic. And luckily for me, she was highly independent and free-spirited and a free thinker. And she lived, in the house with us for a few weeks. And this was actually good because she did get to see behind closed doors and understand more of the dynamic, to see and feel what was actually going on. Now, the narcissist was obviously smearing me very heavily and trying to paint me as a monster. But she tuned into her feelings and the frequencies, the subtle unspoken things that were happening between us in that space. This person, she knew that things didn't add up. And I remember one morning I was in my room and I overheard her actually talking on the telephone to a friend. And I knew in that moment that she wasn't buying the facade of the narcissist. And I knew that she felt like she'd entered a really weird reality. And I do know from interactions that she saw me as the sane and grounded one. And again, this was really fortunate. She was similar to me. And so naturally, me and her could gravitate towards each other energetically. Now, I've spoken a few times about this interaction, and I'll link some videos below, but I still really risked to speak with her about what was going on within that house. But I used my intuition, and one day I did approach her outside of the house. And in the end, the woman that was brought into the dynamic to be my punishment ended up being my savior. Me and her have actually become quite friendly, and we speak quite often. And she helped me, and I was actually able to help her then to exit a toxic relationship, probably with a covert narcissist, although not anywhere near on the same extreme level as the malignant narcissist. And because of this, we've bonded quite a bit. And I can tell you, if the narcissist knew that we speak and that we've been actually informing each other and working together, wow, you know what a blow that's going to be. So that was everything that I wanted to share in today's video, and I hope that it's been helpful. Coming up right now, I have the comedy skit that I hope that you're going to enjoy, introducing a new character, Nancy. Nancy, darling, you're here. Mwah, mwah. You've met Dan, haven't you? Hey.
Hi, Dan.
Please make yourself at home, Nancy. I'm just making some dinner for us.
Great, you're a man that cooks.
So would you ladies like some wine, maybe?
Oh, yes, please.
Red or white? The red, Dan. Your wine.
Oh, thanks, Dan.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You see that guy over there? He's a monster.
So Dan's a monster, is he?
I know that you'd never believe it. He seems really nice on the surface, but you don't know what he's like behind closed doors. Would you like some olives? Yep, please. Yeah, he's an absolute monster.
But how is he?
Well, how isn't he? Should be the question. So dinner won't be long, ladies, but would either one of you like some water? Yes, and can you add a touch of lemon, Nelly? Lemon. I know exactly how you like it. All of my partners have been monsters. I find terrible people. I've been a victim. In the past, I give and I give and I give and I get nothing in return. I thought Dan was different. But he's exactly the same. I'm starting to lose hope in the human race. Plus, I think he's cheating. I walk on eggshells trying to keep him calm. Dan, where are the olives? It's coming right now. Sometimes I think I'd be better off alone. Like you. Ta-da! Dinner is served. So ladies, I hope that you enjoy the food. If you would excuse me, Nancy, I have to go now and prepare the bath for Nelly, and I'm going to prepare the room for her foot massage. It's a pleasure seeing you again, Nancy. I hope that I'm going to see you again really soon.
Likewise, Dan. Lovely to meet you too.
Take care.
When you decide to discard Dan, will you let me know?
Why?
No reason. I just think the community needs to keep a tab on monsters. And I certainly like to keep tabs on him.